So the answer to my question is yes. Goals are very, very important, but the soul pleaser way of setting goals is very different to the way that we've been taught to set goals. And that's why this step that you have all taken to really understand who you are and therefore what you truly want, not what you think society wants, not what you think your parents want, not what you think you should do to fit in, just what you truly, truly want is the space that you come from when you decide what you want to step into. So the soul pleaser process is getting rid of all the stuff that is for other people in terms of you're doing it to keep up appearances or to fit in or to be accepted, etc. And you're really tuning into that true part of you that feels drawn to making a difference in the world in your own unique way, because that's essentially why we're all here. We're all here to make an impact in our own special, unique way. Now, when we're very young, we know that. We know that when we're very, very young, that as we start to become conditioned, we are influenced by the people around us, and we learn that if we do certain things, we get praise for it. And so we start at a very young age to get confused about what we want, because when you do this, you get a positive feedback. When you do that, you get a negative feedback. So all of a sudden, it's a bit of a grey area about what you really want and what you think is expected of you. So what happened to you, Michelle, happens to most of us is that we end up chasing goals that sometimes are not completely our own. So there might be an aspect of it that's ours, but then there's all these added layers. And so we have similar backgrounds, Michelle. So I really started out down that track of getting a degree and being a professional in the caring industry. And we're really drawn often to that as people pleasers because we want to help other people. So we end up down that caring track. But then because we just continue to want to look after everybody and make sure everybody else is happy and that we're doing a good job and striving to be the best we can be, all of those things just become overwhelming and we overdo it. So with your children, I'm going to share with you the technique that I use with my youngest and how effective that is, because it doesn't have any influence from me. So as parents, we've actually learned how to be a parent. Even though we don't think that we're being a parent like our own parents, there's always going to be some aspects of the way we parent that's from our conditioning. So it's deeply buried, and you might notice yourself sometimes saying some things that your parents used to say or reacting in circumstances in ways that your parents used to. So this is just because it's what we observed when we were very impressionable, and it just stays there until we become conscious of it, and then we can decide to change it if we want to. So that's, the good and the bad aspects. So in this case, I think that the biggest belief that needs changing around parenting is that we are not here to decide our children's future. Now, none of us consciously think that. We don't think, I'm in charge of my kids and I'm going to steer them in a certain direction. We would all say, I just want my kids to be happy. But unconsciously, we have some definitions and some expectations that are part of our culture of what success looks like. So we feel like at a very deep level that they're going to be happy if they're successful. So they're good at school, they're good at sport, they fit in at school. And all of these things are this unconscious belief around them being happy and what will make them happy. But if we can teach our children to tune into themselves, they will learn what will really make them happy, which will be unique to them. And so at the moment with your children, Michelle, with what your experience with them, they might not have complete clarity around what that is yet. Similar to maybe you before you started this program, you weren't sure what made you happy. You were so unhappy it was hard to know what made you happy because you were just trying to keep everyone else happy. And so kids can just mimic that and start to do that at a very young age as well. And that's why there can be a bit of apathy. So the two symptoms can be disinterest in putting any effort into anything and lack of self-belief. But that changes when they start to follow their bliss. So this links in very well with our discussion around the blue moon tonight, where you really want to tap into your bliss and what lights you up. So at the end of 2016, which is where I had the soul pleasing transformation personally, I sat down my son, who's now 12, so he would have been 11 at the time, and I bought him a journal, and I taught him to write in that journal in December what he would like his life to look like a year down the track. And I left him to it. I had no influence on what he wrote. And it's beautiful how children can simplify things that we can make really complicated. And at the time, he was experiencing some bullying at school, and he didn't have a close friend group. In fact, he felt quite alone at school. And so quite simply, he wrote, "It's December 2017, so a year into the future. I have lots of friends. I was Simba in the school production The Lion King, and I'm house captain." So he found this diary about 9 months later, and he came running into me and said, "Mum, all of these 3 things have happened." And at the time when he wrote it, you know, he didn't have any confidence in it necessarily happening, but it made him take action that was in alignment with those things. So he knew that that's what he wanted to achieve. So obviously he put in the effort to become the house captain, he put in the effort to get that part, and he put in effort to friendships and to find his tribe. And it just made my heart sing. On the last day of school, the day after the last day of school, we had 11 children who he would consider his good friends come to our house and have a pool party, whereas the year before he felt like he wasn't part of the group. So sometimes we think we know what our kids want and we know what will make them happy, but if you allow them to really think about that for themselves, it might be quite different to what's important to you and what you think will make them happy.